Okay, welcome everybody to the Get Total Wealth video podcast, where I try to bring you guests who are at every level of expertise building their second stream of income with the goal of leading a more balanced life. Life that includes family, fitness, romance, travel, all the parts. And who I brought you today, Mark and Lindley, have been investors together for 2 years. But Mark has been for 6 years, is that right?
No, about 18.
About 18, that's right, 18 years. So please welcome Mark and Lindley. Mark and Lindley, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. Let's start by going back 18 years. We just discussed this on the radio, but what was your motivation to get yourself into this? You know, you kind of suggested you've always been an entrepreneur, but you really didn't even know you were an entrepreneur.
No, I never. It was like 2 years ago someone said, you're an entrepreneur, and it's like, I am.
Surprise!
Yeah, that's it.
Wait,
all
what,
those
someone?
businesses.
What, someone?
Well, Lindy said it. So
Lindley
it had
said
to be
it.
true.
Oh, yeah. No arguing. So you still had, though, let's go back to age 16.
Mm-hmm.
At 16, did you know you were going to be an entrepreneur? You didn't know what to call it, but you wanted to own your own business and be your own man?
I pretty much think so. My parents had their own businesses. It's just that's the way our family was. You know, everyone just had businesses.
You know, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that brings up an important point. A lot of people are saying, you know, the rich are trying to hold down the poor and this, that, and the other. I don't believe that for a second. Every rich person that I know has done everything they could to help me build wealth. Never have I met a rich person that didn't share their ideas and try to help me. It's that the poor and the middle class have a set of beliefs, and they pass them on to their kids. The problem is they're poor and middle class beliefs, so the kids get poor and middle class results, then they pass those on to their kids. Where you had entrepreneurial parents, they passed on entrepreneurial beliefs, and you went on and did it.
That's it. It is. It's what you're taught. It's what you're around. Is kind of, to me, what you become.
So I think it comes down to, if you don't have a multimillionaire entrepreneur parent, you better read. You better take courses. You better study. Otherwise, you're going to follow the same path that they did just by default. Now, Lindley, you 2 years ago started. What was your motivation?
Well, I said Mark Hobbs was my motivation to
Yeah.
get into real estate, because I was never really much into real estate. And I knew it was his passion. And so I said, well, okay, I'll do it with you. I am definitely an entrepreneur and, practice veterinary medicine for 27 years now and own a skincare company and, just done a lot of different things and, wrote a book this year and just did some other things. And so I thought, well, why not real estate too? Just add to my portfolio of things that I do and that I enjoy doing.
And that's interesting for your story because you really enjoy flipping. Mm-hmm. It's you understand the wealth is built with the rentals, but you love to flip. And I brought up the point that there's some creativeness in you. The thing I didn't bring up on the radio show was I think that women are more empathetic and they're more nesters than males are. So creating a wonderful place for a family, for a couple to raise their family is probably pretty exciting for you, maybe a little more exciting for us. I see dollar signs when I flip a house. I think my wife, when she would come into them, she would always go, oh, the baby can come in this room. And she had this different feel for what was going on in the house when I was just like, it's just kitchen and entertainment room. That's all I'm interested in. So does that affect you too?
Yeah, absolutely. A whole lot more emotional when it comes to that. And he'll have to back me up. Okay, you don't have to live here. And I was like, you know what? They need a pantry.
Yeah.
Who wants a house without a pantry?
Without a
you
pantry.
need something like that, and you need some nice drawers, and all the other things, and you need an extra bathroom here. Nobody wants to raise 3 kids in one bathroom, so so that definitely comes into play, and I think that helps because I can see what I want for myself and what I would do. The houses that we flip aren't always amendable to some of the extreme things that I would like to do, but
Right.
in my mind, I want it to get there. And so we get as close as we can without going over
Strike
budget.
a balance.
Yeah, exactly.
She tells me what we should have in there, and then I try and work it in the budget. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes there's a square footage problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's because I would love to have an office at my house, but I don't have the square footage for it. But all my friends live there. I'm not moving to a bigger house because I don't want to leave all my friends. So you guys also do self-storage, and this is still astounding to me that your cash-on-cash rate of return on those two, one is a potential and one is actual. Mm-hmm. The actual is 50+% cash-on-cash rate of return, and the potential is also is projecting 50% cash-on-cash rate of return.
Yeah.
That is higher than any single family I've ever done. It's higher than any multifamily that I've done, with very few exceptions. There are some exceptions where I made 100, 200% rate of return, but those were massive value plays. These were destroyed properties that we brought back from extinction and brought them back to life. But that my average multifamilies, around 20% rate of return. My average single families around 20, 24% rate of return. 50% rate of return. That is insane. Did you, when you bought those, expect that type of rate of return?
Yes.
Yes.
It's everything in real estate with me is a numbers game. I run the numbers, I do the different scenarios, like if we added extra units to the site, I know that before I buy it.
Yeah, and I think I did the calculation just in my head, but if you add those extra units, you're going to have over 100% rate of return annually.
Yeah.
Crazy. And poor families, again, the poor and middle class who have their money in the stock market, they're making an average of 7% a year over the last 75 years, and you're making 50%. And the sad thing is they're scared. They don't think that they can do what you're doing, but they can, can't they?
They can. They're just overthinking it.
And fear's
a big one. Yeah, they think it can go wrong. They think this can happen. They think that can happen. Where the only thing you need to think about is how you want your rest of your life to be. To me, that's it.
Well, when we were talking about money earlier and how money can definitely be an obstacle, and thinking like a real estate investor was a big something I really had to overcome, and understanding the difference between money in an account building, even if it's building 7-8%, and as opposed to an asset. It's all an exchange of money for an asset versus the cash, but when you're used to having cash in the bank or used to investing in stocks and bonds and kind of watching that go, it's different.
So it was a psychological barrier to move to assets versus paper.
And sometimes I still, when I put it on paper, and that we increased the net worth by 3 times in the last year or two. It's just crazy. But that gave me more confidence to recognize and see the asset is money. A house is still money. It's just not liquid.
Yeah, I remember the first time I closed a house where the attorney was at the title company, was sitting in there, and he shook my hand and he goes, "Wow, man, your net worth just went up $30,000." And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm
poor.
I just put $25,000 down. Mm-hmm. He goes, "No, this thing's worth $200. You're all in at $170. You just picked up $30,000 in net worth." I went home like, yeah. Told my wife, I said, your husband is killing it.
Yeah. Well, that was like the CD storage units. The appraisal came in at $20,000 more than we paid for it, and I thought we paid fair market value for it. It was just it was cash flowing really well. And I said to her, "We just made $20,000 and we don't even own it yet."
I know that has happened on some apartments. Mm-hmm. I had partners, but I remember emailing my partners going, "You're not going to believe this. We're in it for $2.2 million. The appraisal came in at $2.5. Mm-hmm. We just made $300,000
Mm-hmm.
before, like you said, before we even closed the deal." And then we of course rehabbed it and raised the NOI. So future, and I know I've got the benefit of having done the radio show with you and knowing this, but $10 million, that's your goal. $10 million net worth.
Yes.
Now I want the listener to understand, at a 50% rate of return, like they're getting, that is $5 million a year.
Yes.
Now, if you're average and you get 20, that's going to be about $2 million a year for the rest of your life. What are you going to do with $2 million a year?
Play.
I know travel's a big one for you.
Yeah, travel. You know, my whole mindset is all about enjoying life and having fun in everything I do, even in the work. And there's just a little bit, about a balance with it. But yeah, I definitely want to travel, just want to not have to worry about anything for future, for legacy. I talked about kids, making sure they're
You got
set
kids
for,
about to go to college,
yeah,
right?
well, I've got one graduating actually from
Congratulations.
nursing school next weekend, and then another one has one more year in college, and then the boys are teenagers, and so they're not there yet, but we have to plan for that, of course.
So 4 total.
Well, plus 2 adult children, but yes.
Okay,
Four
so
on,
6.
4 on the dole.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids and a lot of education to pay for.
Yeah, and we were adding up how much we're spending on. One daughter's out of state, the other one's in state, but still, it adds up. It's to a pretty penny.
Yeah, my son, he graduated from UT. When we added it all up, it was over $80,000 for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm well.
Yeah,
If he'd have not finished so quickly, we were projecting about 105 to get a degree.
Yeah, so with my one daughter, it's probably going to be about $300,000 for her college, and then other one did a fast track for nursing school.
What is she studying?
She wants to follow Mama's footsteps
In
with veterinary medicine. So,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. $300,000, amazing. And it's like you could take $300,000 at a 20% rate of return. That'd be $150,000 for the $60,000 for the rest of your life. I wonder what she'll make. Do you have any idea what she'll make as a veterinarian?
Well, she has a heart for sanctuary work.
Okay.
So not much.
She wildlife and sanctuary work. So
I just
yeah.
it just dawned on me what a sanctuary is.
Yes,
Okay, so that's an expensive education for sanctuary work.
Yeah. But if it gives her joy, then
That is so true. You've got to be happy. I studied the Dalai Lama quite a bit, and his point that the purpose of life is to be happy. But then if you read further, happiness comes from the help and service of others, whether it's animal or human. And she's on the path to be happy. Then all she's got to do is follow in your footsteps and do some investing on the side to build her income.
exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, our 15, 14-year-old, when we brought them to the Total Wealth
Kids class?
when
Yeah.
your son taught,
Yeah.
and they really enjoyed it. And Josh was asking questions, got the book, and all of a sudden he's like, "I think I'm gonna." Literally, he's in his computer. I'm changing to business, Mom. I'm going to be an
Excellent.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, what I would love to do is, I didn't read this until after I had quit college. I want to say it was Steve Jobs or Carnegie. It may have been Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie said, go to college, don't pay any attention to the curriculum they give you, get the courses you need to get in the business you want to be in, and get out. I wish I had known that. I would have taken the accounting classes, the business classes,
Economics.
and then quit
Yep.
as soon as I had all the information I needed. So with Mark, with your success, Lindley, with your success, if you're advising a friend or a neighbor, and I know it's tough, so I'm going to ask you to limit it to one piece of advice each. We'll start with you. What would be the advice you would give to a friend or a listener who's on the verge of getting out there and doing what you're doing? What's your piece of advice?
Get a mentor. Get somebody who can help you through it, and just do it.
Yeah, I think that the just do it is such a simple phrase, but it is so powerful. It helps me sometimes. I'll be sitting there in the kitchen working on emails or something. I go, man, it's time to work out. And I come up with 10 different excuses not to go train. And then I remember that little phrase, just do it.
Yeah.
And I get up and go train and get back to email. How about you, Mark?
It's pretty much the same thing as Lindley said. Someone asked me, it's always, just go buy something. You know, and it's always followed up with, there's everyone around you that knows what they're doing, and you've got all the advice you want.
Yeah.
It's normally standing in, total wealth or something like that, that's when they're asking the questions. Because they've got that mindset already. They're just afraid to do it.
Yeah, fear is a paralyzer, and fear is almost always, as Zig Ziglar said, false evidence appearing real. Mm-hmm. It's always false, because I remember when I was first getting into real estate investing, looking at successful people and going, but they're different. Mm-hmm. There's got to be something different about them. And then I started hanging out with them at groups like this, and I go, man, these people are just like me.
Yeah.
They just got more courage than I do, a little more information than I do, a little more oomph. And it got me off my butt, like my mentor, Bruce, who told me to start buying rent property. I was scared to death to own rent property until he goes, Steve, I have 123 houses. I vacation 2 weeks a month out of the country. You can do it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So, Mark, are you into travel at all, or?
I like to travel.
Okay.
I haven't done as much as I want to.
So you've got kind of is that a kindred spirit kind of thing on travel?
Yeah. Well, we both enjoy diving. We want to do more of that. And, right now with young kids at home, especially this last year and a half, it's been a little bit difficult. But ideally, I think that's what we want to do more of. We bought an RV recently, but really haven't been able to travel. Yeah,
it's COVID. Oh, don't get any of us started. Probably is the best idea. Just be glad when it's over. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it. Mark, Lindley, thank you so much. Congratulations on your success, and thanks for coming on the Total Wealth Academy video podcast. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.